Welcome back, guys. Today we are joined by Sinjin, who's the CEO of Perlon AI. So welcome, Sinjin. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the exciting stuff that Perlon AI is doing?
Thanks, Jordan. Yeah, so Perlon AI specialized in creating custom language models that are able to conduct hyper-personalized outbound campaigns for businesses over email and LinkedIn predominantly. So we have a platform that helps a real wide range of customers, everyone from VCs and PE funds through to B2B SaaS companies. We work with a range of companies across design, videography, a real mix of customers that we help who all want to do outbound, but do it in a more effective way and to do it with better messaging, more human sounding messaging. There's a lot of kind of bad AI generated content out there, and we really specialize in trying to make that content sound as good as it possibly can be and to be at human parity in the way that it sounds. That's our kind of primary software business. We also have a company called Perlon Labs, which specializes in custom AI deployments. Again, we work with a very wide range of different businesses on highly bespoke solutions for different use cases there as well.
So the personalized cold outbound is like a personal interest of mine, because it's obviously something that I often help set up. So this is absolutely perfect. You might have I need to be a customer.
Yes.
What led to the creation of this solution? You just get inundated with spammy generic messages, or was there something else?
A combination of things really led to it. Firstly, I spent a lot of my working career managing and growing global outbound sales teams. So I'd seen the way that the industry had shifted over the last few years. My co-founder is a machine learning engineer. I had the specialism in outbound sales and running sales teams. So we decided to combine our experiences and our expertise to create a solution that was able to help do this in a more effective way in the age of AI. So obviously the sort of thing that we're able to do now would not have been possible, the best part of 2.5 years ago at all. And that's kind of how we sort of came about it. We also had quite a lot of requests from our consulting customers about, how can you create a solution that helps us generate more pipeline? How can you use AI to build new business? And that's kind of how we came up with it. We created a very sort of scrappy MVP product that we launched. I started last year and have subsequently really built out on.
Right. Well, it looks very impressive what you guys have done. For people listening, like if they're thinking, okay, I use something like an Instantly right now, how is Perlon superior?
Yeah, so for things like Instantly, you can really only generate fairly generic copy that might switch out things like, hi Jordan, hi Sinjin, company name, etc. They've built a platform that's very much for scale and for delivering at scale. We looked at it from a slightly different lens in that we built a platform that was originally for quality. We've thought about scale as almost an afterthought. We have a platform that is fully scalable and that is able to optimize for deliverability as well. But it's really around quality where we differentiate. The sort of platforms on the market like the Instantly's, the Apollos of this world, they're kind of the old school setup that might have really focused on just getting as much stuff out there as possible, not really caring about the quality. Whereas we think, and as has been proven by things like the reply rates to our campaigns, we think that quality is the thing that has a big impact on how much you get in terms of responses. So that's really been our focus, is just making sure that quality of output is really as good as it possibly can be.
Okay. And so I noticed that you personalize these outbound campaigns, and I'm thinking, how on earth are they personalized to such a degree? Like, where are you pulling information from? I mean, without revealing any secret source, but how are you personalizing these emails with AI?
Yeah, so each custom model that we create for a customer is very bespoke to them. It's very specific to the way they like to communicate their value prop, to the way they like to communicate to different ICPs. That's all built into the model that sits behind their version of the platform. In terms of the data that feeds into that to personalize, we have web scrapers that are also built into the platform that will pull information from the company's website, that will pull information from news, that will pull information from the individual's LinkedIn, the company's LinkedIn, Twitter, all sorts of different sources looking for relevant information that we can personalize it. So for example, we're not going to look to scrape your LinkedIn profile and see where you went to school or university and think that that's going to be good personalization. You've probably seen some of these things in the past where someone will say, oh, hey, I can see you graduated from the University of Bristol in 2012. Do you need a UX designer or whatever it might be? We're really looking to personalize based on information that's actually relevant to the outreach. And we've built what's called a business inference engine, which takes between sort of 7 and 10 data points on both the individual and on the business and determines based on those things what is actually going to be good and relevant for me to say as part of this outreach, rather than, what's personalization for personalization's sake. So that process of generating one email or one message from our system can typically sort of take up to 10, 12 seconds to write. It's much more detailed and thought out in the way that it's constructed versus just sending a single prompt or a single context window to ChatGPT and getting an almost immediate response. This is a chain of thought architecture that will call multiple models to generate one email. And off the back of that, what you get is much more nuance in the language. You get a better understanding of what's the most effective thing that I can actually say to this target, given who they are and who they work for. And obviously that is a more expensive process for us to do it that way, but you just get far better content. And with far better content, as we've seen, just comes far better results from the campaigns themselves.
Right, got it. And so you mentioned that there's a lot of customization that goes in the back end. You also said that the AI is trained on the user's input, the way they speak and things like that. So I don't imagine that this is something that's just available for Joe Blogs who wants to send 100 emails. It's more for like an enterprise level client. Is that correct?
It's a bit of a mixture of customers that we have. We have companies that have up to sort of 17, 18,000 employees who use the tool. Then we also work with a number of startups. So it really just depends. It's not a PLG product like some, in that you can't just log in, test it out. We have a minimum of a 3-month pilot period that any company will need to have before they use the platform. Whilst they're using the platform. But fundamentally, it is something that is accessible to businesses, particularly on the price point. It is something that we think is able to be affordable, whether you're a startup or whether you're an enterprise customer. It's certainly cheaper than hiring an SDR or hiring a lead gen agency that's going to cost you, thousands and thousands of pounds a month to do a similar sort of process. So we kind of sit at that intersection between straight SaaS, but then also sort of consulting, because we're very hands-on with the customers that we work with, really ensuring that they get the results that they need.
All right, makes sense. So being so forward thinking and coming up with such an incredible idea, like where do you think AI is trending towards over the next coming years?
I think in general, we're looking towards more and more personalization across various different stacks. And I think you're getting a lot of tools that are being generated specifically for small niches, small verticals, and specific projects at different companies. I think generally speaking, the adoption curve is nowhere near getting hit in any sort of meaningful way yet. And I think the next few years, we are just going to start to see how this really kind of permeates every element of someone's job and of a business. It's still pretty early days, but I think AI to do with personalization is one of the clear ways in which some of the easy use cases can be proven out, and the quick wins can seem to be, hopefully seen by various other companies. So for us, obviously, that really looks like personalizing every sort of bit of content that goes out from the sales team. Whether that then seeps into personalizing every bit of content that goes out for a marketing team is another kind of product area that we're focused on, is how can we, help marketing communications be more personalized. Again, the problem that you probably have there is that, a lot of outbound newsletters and things like that, they're pretty generic. They're not really very personalized. We're looking at how to build that same level of personalization we built in for sales teams into marketing communications as well. And I think that's generally a theme that we see across the board, is like what AI can do for personalization, given what it can know and what it can generate at scale.
Fascinating. Okay. I look forward to seeing how you guys are able to solve those problems. So looking back then, what do you think have been some of the biggest challenges over the last 12 months? Because it's still early days for the business, right? About a year and a bit old.
Yeah. So I think the biggest challenges for us have really been growing with a lean team. We made a conscious effort to keep the team as lean as possible, to utilize AI in every meaningful way that we can, whether that's across the coding stack, whether that's across the outbound, the BD. And as such, we've wanted actively to keep headcount down and to manage all of our customer accounts and manage all of our sales has probably been the biggest challenge for a small team. I think as well, what's really kind of, I suppose, been an issue has been the ability to ship product features, right? We are, again, a small team. We've had to take it a little slower than a company that may have raised, 10, 15 million in this space and been able to hire 50 engineers. We're still a very lean team in that sense. So I guess speed of shipping is also something that has possibly been a bit of a challenge, particularly towards, this time last year when it was only two of us. And Brent, my co-founder, he did everything on the engineering side. So we've got a few more people in the team now, which is great. But I think historically those have probably been the two biggest challenges.
Okay, got it. And seeing as though Perlon helps people acquire new customers as well as like engage, like how are you acquiring customers for the software?
Yeah, well, funnily enough, Jordan, we have a tool that helps with this. So we can just turn on.
I know.
we can turn our tool up and down as we need to. So the volume is something that we can really scale up if we need to when it comes to outbound. So that is the primary tool that we use for our own pipeline generation. I also do, the bit of sort of passive LinkedIn posting and things like that. We also have a few really good referral partners, and word of mouth has been really, really good for us. We've not spent any money on marketing yet. And we don't intend to spend any money on marketing for, at least the next sort of 6 months or so, because we just don't need to. We've got a really strong organic pipeline, and we've got a really effective tool for generating additional pipeline when we need to turn it up. So in that sense, we're quite fortunate, I think. TBC, how that sort of develops, we might, as we look to sort of scale things up, we might start to spend, a bit more cash on some marketing efforts as well.
Right. Makes sense. Okay. So then if you could go back and you could start Perlon AI again, are there some things that you might change or do differently now that you have the gift of hindsight?
That's a good question. There's nothing immediately that really sort of comes to mind as to what I would change about the way we've done things. I think we've lived by some principles that have served us quite well. We've always been very conscious of how much money we spend. We've always been conscious of making revenue and making sales and ensuring that we try and give our customers the best possible experience on the platform. And I think that's been something that we've had from the off. We had a consulting business originally, so that has very much kind of informed a lot of the ways that we've operated, particularly when it comes to keeping a lean team, when we can, with a consulting business, assume sort of relatively low margins. We've had to sort of have those assumptions, which have actually, long-term sort of proven to be quite effective when we've actually moved into a form of business in software and in SaaS that is higher margin. So I think that mindset about making sure that we make money, making sure that we're, quite conservative in the way we spend has probably served us well. And I think overall, pretty happy with the way things have gone so far up until now. Anyway, let's see. I can't always promise that, but yeah, can't complain.
Nice. Awesome. So, okay, then finally, Sinjin, if you had a magic wand, and I know this sounds silly, but it's a question I always get interesting answers for. If you had a magic wand that you could wave over one big problem, whether that's in Perlon or whether it's inside the industry, and you could solve that problem like that, what would that big problem be?
That's a good question. One big issue I think that we've found is that LLMs in general, they are not really well equipped to do what we do. And what I mean by that is that these things are typically benchmarked on their ability to code, their ability to do reasoning, their ability to do math. These things are fundamentally not their ability to write an email that sounds like it was written by a human. And we've done a pretty good job of manipulating models to get output that seems human. I think if I could wave that sort of magic wand, one of the things that we haven't sort of traditionally seen improvements in is the ability of certain models to get better at doing this whole process. So be able to wave that wand and say, listen, LLMs, get better at writing emails, get better at sounding human would be a nice thing to do. We're in the process of remedying that ourselves by actually creating our own model that is specifically for this purpose, which is what none of these LLMs are really for. So yeah, I mean, that could be something that happens in the future. However, it doesn't really seem to be the focus of any of these models, is improving towards that end goal, which is fundamentally something that is quite qualitative in the way that you assess it as well. Whereas some of the other things that they are benchmarked on are not, and are easier to be quite objective on. So yeah, I'd say that's probably what I'd like to see changed, or I'd like to see some of the big model providers think about in a slightly different way.
Perfect. Awesome. Great answer. So if people are listening and they're like, oh, this is the solution to all my problems, and they want to check out Perlon AI, like where can they go and how maybe can they connect with you?
Yeah, so perlonai.com. Or Perlon.ai, you'll be able to see our platform. You'll be able to click through, book a demo with our team, and then, happy to talk to anyone directly as well. So I'm on LinkedIn. You can find us via the company or just my name, Sinjin Dalgleish. And happy to chat with anyone.
Perfect. I'll leave links and all of that stuff in the description. Thank you so much, Sinjin, for sharing a little bit about what Perlon is doing. Sounds really exciting. And thank you for sharing some of those insights. And thank you guys for watching. Highly encourage you guys go to check out Perlon AI. And we will see you in the next episode. Thank you.
Thanks, Jordan.